Hey, what's up, everybody? Bdf 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so fighting fatigue today, man. I could have very easily stayed in the house, but I want to continue pushing myself as I have been all week long through fatigue. Try to build strength. That's what I'm telling myself. So the plan is to do more of the same. Go to Target, grab some things that I'm going to purchase, and then hike up the hill, walk around a little bit, and just try to build the strength that way. I think it's definitely done good for me, but boy, could I use a day in. But I ain't gonna do it today. I'll do it tomorrow. I opted not to do laundry today for that same reason, even though I need to, because I just want to get out today. I didn't want to be in the house. I didn't want to just chill, not at all. Just wanted to push today. So yeah, man, getting out, feeling exhausted, but I think I'll be fine. I feel a lot better than I did earlier in the week when I was telling you I was tired. So yeah, man, just paying attention to what's going on in the world as usual. The thing that's most unfortunate that I've been paying attention to was what happened yesterday. I guess there was a ship headed out to Gaza with about 30 humanitarian people on it, and I guess it was bombed or attacked by Israel, but not necessarily sunk right away. I don't know how they're doing now, but they sent out SOSs, and only one person got back to them in regards to the SOSs. So they were able to somehow connect with the outside world, and they had it all over IG to like connect to your local whoever's, try to make them aware of what's going on there. We know that the people who need to know what's going on there know what's going on there. In fact, from what I understand, Israel took responsibility for attacking that thing, and all it has was humanitarian aid and humanitarian people on it. That's it. No weapons on board, from what I understand. No criminals on board. But the urgency last night was to try to get them some help. I think the thing was en route from one country to the next before heading to Gaza, and it was still on the way to pick some more people up or something like that when Israel attacked it. So I haven't heard any updates how them people are doing, but I definitely prayed for them last night before going to bed. And it's an awful situation, because anything that supports Gaza, anyone that supports Gaza is automatically labeled a bad guy. So whatever happens to you or whatever is done in attacking you is considered to be just in the twisted way that things are being viewed. So as we were talking about, they of course storming campuses, and people who are viewing a movie, as we talked about yesterday. I believe the movie they were watching was a documentary from BBC called The Settlers. I tried looking for it myself, but I wasn't able to access it. But I think that's what they're reviewing. And so, it's like they treat those people like they're criminals. Anybody that protests Gaza gets treated like the genocide in Gaza gets treated like a criminal. Anyone who protests Israel is considered a criminal. They passing all types of laws to make it impossible. They're kicking people out of school. They're deporting people, all in the name of criticizing Israel for what is clearly immoral to anyone with a brain who isn't compromised by Zionist rule. And so we're living in a world today where you can do horrible things to Palestinian people and be supported by it, celebrated for it, because of who controls what who controls what in this world, wanting it to be done. I think that is a ruthless way for the world to continue, man. I think that's horrible. I think it sets a terrible precedent for tomorrow. I think the people who are upholding that all need to be given a death penalty. I really do. I think anybody who upholds that should be given a death penalty, because it's keeping our world in a space where children get to be slaughtered and people don't have a right to say anything about it. And in my mind, that is not only dangerous for the times we're in, but it's dangerous for tomorrow. I really do. I think that's extremely dangerous. When you let your structure and the power structure and certain people get to determine who gets to suffer and who doesn't, And then furthermore, we get to sit back and just watch it happen and can't do nothing about it because those same people are making it criminal to hold them accountable for torturing people. I think that the world right now is in a dangerous place, and that's what we talked about. What we talked about yesterday about getting our individual selves in order and being prepared for the potential of unprecedented wrath coming our way. Because I can't think of a time in modern times where the Lord would have more of a reason to pretty much destroy all of us, if I'm being completely honest with you. I think the Zionists are moving as if the world does not have a God that governs over it. I think they're acting as if they are God, and in the presence of it during our modern times, they are ruining our modern times, ruining the reputation of basically everybody alive today, because they're trying to force us into a space where we allow them to do awful things to innocent people, awful things to children, no less, forcing it, making it law that we not talk about it, making it out as if we're the worst people in the world for being outraged by it. I could be outraged at the suffering of any living thing except for the Palestinian in 2025. I could come together with a bunch of people who agree with me and support insect rights. I literally could. Insect rights. If I wanted to support insect rights, I had no problem doing that. I could get a bunch of people to do that. But if I try to, in this era, come together to support Palestinian human rights and Palestinian dignity, suddenly I'm an enemy of the state. I'm a treasonous, non-American person. I'm at risk to have everything taken from me and vilified as a bad guy. And if I support the killing of those people, if I do it loud enough in support of Israel, I'll be anointed as a good person, probably praised if I'm convincing enough. Maybe even given a Nobel Peace Prize if I rise to the occasion for Israel's rights to be however they want to be. If I were to say I'm pro-Israel and want Israel to succeed, I would be given everything that should be given to people who are saying, I want all human beings to succeed. I want to see everybody succeed. This is wickedness. This is evil. This is backwards. And most of us are not confused by it. May be afraid of it, may be concerned about what happens if we stand up against it, but we're not confused by it. This is wickedness. Whether you believe in God or not, this is immorally aligned. And that is what I have to say to each and every person who follows me, man. I've been standing up for this the whole time in my little corner of life, watching them hurt these people, watching these children suffering, seeing dead baby after dead baby. We've reached now 570, 6 days, I believe is the number, somewhere in that range of genocide. They ain't just bombing these people. They supporting the assault of them sexually. I've seen them do weird stuff like before they even tore up Gaza, go by and spray urine on the walls of these people's homes. They've starved these people and teased them with food that they never intended to allow them to have. As you could clearly see, as of yesterday, they're bombing humanitarians who are looking to come through there and feed these people, as if there are no children there. The Israel Zionist entity is morally upside down. And anything that looks to hold it accountable is vilified as a bad person. Regardless of what or why Israel is considered good and correct, no matter what, by our government and by individuals who ultimately control a lot of what it is you see in the media. This is immorally backwards. This is morally backwards, rather. This is true wickedness controlling a lot of what it is we see. And we as the people, are going to have to do a lot to undo the damage that we allowed the people who we pay into have done. People we voted into office have done. And I'm telling you, racism is going to be humanity's undoing. Selective humanity is going to be humanity's undoing. Greed and blackmail and letting one's own flesh interests, so to speak, or sexual interests are going to be the undoing of this country and of this world. Because all of these things come together to allow Israel to kill children, slaughter an entire race of people in the name of themselves, fulfilling some god-awful prophecy that they have in their books about some shit that they honestly weren't around for, won't be around for the end of it either. And those who want to take advantage of that opportunity to just simply build resorts in the Middle East. That's really what's going on there. You got idiots like Donald Trump, your president, who just want to build resorts there. He don't really care how it goes. As long as they give him flat land for which he can purchase a bunch of property so he can have that property going forward into the world. Instead of people wanting to survive, help these people survive, instead of seeing the fruit and educating them and allowing them opportunities to thrive, and we can make money that way by helping those people, you'd rather help those who want to kill them off of some biblical bullshit that ain't even aligned with actual truth. It's not even actually aligned with a belief in God, since it was literally given to them by an atheist. Theodore Herzl was an atheist. He created Zionism. The belief that they are to inherit land and to inherit the earth because God gave it to them. A person who didn't believe in God. And we crawled so far up their backside and allowed them to slither their evil ways into everything that we have, to now we're afraid to hold them accountable for this god-awful intention. We would rather them destroy those people, destroy anybody that comes to help those people, and dance on their graves than to hold them accountable and suffer whatever comes with that accountability as it pertains to our own structures that I guess many believe would fall apart if we don't allow these people to do whatever the hell they want to do. Whatever the hell, literally intended, they want to do. And I guess as a private citizen, I'm supposed to go along with it because I'm a patriot or something. I don't know. I don't know what y'all Americans that came around to believing about yourselves. I really don't know, man. I honestly don't get it. I never would have been along with what came with building this thing, to be honest with you. I never would have been along with that. Slaughtering people and sending them away from their own homeland so I could build it myself. I never would have went along with that. As I've been saying for the last couple days, I don't ask for destruction for my enemies. I ask for instruction for them and instruction for myself. And that's exactly what I'm going to say in this camera right now, man. I'm asking for instruction because I don't really know what to ask for in these situations. I don't really know what works. I don't really know what God wants to do or what's coming tomorrow. I just know what I've seen and what's been going on and how tired I am of it. I just know that if I make a big enough noise, eventually the consequences of doing so hits me in my doorstep. That's what I get for being righteous. That's what I get for caring about individuals that are not a part of my group or my race or what have you. This is what I get for caring about the stranger and their children. I'm vilified, I guess, as a bad guy or tortured or whatever the hell they want to do to people like me. Make sure that we don't reach our ceiling in life. Make sure we don't get any wealth for ourselves and our children. I don't know. I don't really know what should make a man, I guess, fearful enough to be quiet, but I assume that they've figured it out and they're doing it to most of us. quiet in the presence of children suffering, quiet in the presence of circumstances that have roped your money into allowing the suffering of others. What would make a person be quiet in that circumstance? I'd imagine brainwashing. I'd imagine idol worship, flag worship. I would imagine pledging allegiance to the flag and all of that you were enriched with in school as a child, and make you grow up to be somebody who would allow people to kill children and you don't say nothing. Culture that would allow you to love money and not believe in anything other than yourself, or not believe in anybody being any good worth saving, or whatever indifference we've allowed ourselves to agree to in this world has coerced us into being silent in the presence of genocide that we pay for. I don't really know. I don't really know what type of spiritual space or type of spiritual bankruptcy one would have to actually subscribe to see the things that I've seen and not have a certain urgency about speaking up. I don't know. People can just go about life as normal or be aligned politically. I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts this morning. They were touching in on what was happening with the universities in regards to, silencing people, and, Kalani, singer, great humanitarian image, Kalani, standing up for Palestine and ultimately having her concert be canceled by one of the major universities. I think it was Cornell, I'm not really certain. They canceled it. Why? Because she stood up for Palestine. I say to that university, when you booked her, she had already been standing for Palestine. Just because you caught on to it later doesn't mean that she hadn't already been doing that. She'd been standing up for Palestine since the beginning of this genocide with her voice. So if you booked her for anything without knowing that, it just shows how little homework you've done. How ironic is an educational institution. But nevertheless, my favorite podcast was talking about this, and they didn't mention free Palestine once. They didn't mention nothing about all the stuff that's been going on with Palestine. Why? Because they're afraid. Just like everybody else who refused to stand up for what's right in this situation is afraid, and they don't think there's any hope in it. They think because this is a big bad wolf who controls every damn thing, and the government's behind them and all of that, that being silent is what ultimately is going to age well. You think that you're aligning with the good guy, or rather, the winner in the world of capitalism, and you agree that capitalism is what should carry us forward, because if you were to have the power in the world, you too would want the world to adhere to whatever the hell you said. So you align with it because that's just who's at the top of the pecking order right now. This is what a lot of people subscribe to. The way they see it is, we're just trying to get to where the Zionist is. And if we do, then all of you are going to be quiet when it is time for us to do whatever we want to do too. If I want to slaughter my enemy's children, that's just what I've earned the right to do by getting all the money and all the power. So we're all playing the game trying to get the money and the power. So just because they're at the top doesn't mean we're going to betray the game. That's what a lot of people are doing right now. They respect the game. They don't see nothing wrong with the game. Now, whoever's at the top, maybe they're doing some things that they don't agree with, but they still going to adhere to it because that's the game. They ain't going to mess with the game itself. This is why I think the Lord's wrath is coming. Because a lot of us respect the game so much that we will allow people who are awful, who God would otherwise be angry at, continue to do things their way for the sake of not deteriorating the game itself. Telling ourselves that if we got to the top of the game, we would want everybody to shut their mouths and adhere to our power too. That's what I think a lot of y'all doing. That's why you won't say nothing about Israel, because you respect Israel's position in the game of capitalism, in the game of life, and the structure of things and how they are at the top of it. If they want to kill the Palestinian children, that's what they have earned the right to do because they won your game. That's how a lot of you demons is looking at this. That's how a lot of you godless, you know what I'm saying, are looking at this. It's the polar opposite of poverty. You ain't got no power. People could push you around, kick you off of this side of the street, send you to the next, starve you out. So y'all trying to rush to the top of the game so you have some powers, instead of changing the game so that none of this is even possible. Generation of cowards. That's what I see. Followers. Cowards and followers everywhere. And the few people that stand up against this get vilified. Get bombed when they try to do something about it. Humanitarians, people who dedicate their lives to helping anything that may be needing help, suddenly when they try to help this particular type of people, suddenly they under attack. But that's part of the game. When you win the game, you get to stand at the top, and everybody gets to be quiet while you do whatever you want to do. Don't y'all love it? Don't you love the prospect of having it so that someday maybe your kids and your grandkids can commit genocide and nobody say anything? Isn't that what dreams are made of? No, I think it's actually what God will wipe the world away for, if I'm being completely honest with you. But a lot of y'all don't believe in God anyway. You believe in money. Y'all don't believe in God. Y'all believe in power. Y'all don't believe in God. Y'all believe in Israel and their willingness to live in a space where God doesn't exist and exists at the same time, because a lot of y'all do that in your own lives. Y'all can follow a Theodore Herzl who don't believe in God, saying that I can get something that God left me, because y'all all living in devilish confusion. You do it in your own lives. Go to church on Sunday, sin for 7 days, and come back on Sunday and think everything's cool. Y'all doing it in your own lives. Adhering to the game of life as it pertains to capitalism, while calling yourselves people under God. Like, it's just, commit colonial crimes and then write up within your standards that you believe in justice for all. Like, you live in devilish confusion just like the people who run the game you adhere to. And the world will suffer generations ahead because of your cowardice and your stupidity and your confusion. And your adherence to wickedness. You serve the devil. This is what I'm saying to all of you. You're living in his state of energy, which is confusion and mistakenness. And being at war with something that wants the best for everybody. That's why I have to discipline myself to not pray for destruction, but to pray for instruction as to how to handle this, as I view it in my 40th year of life. As I sit here and watch everybody do this and understand that they've been doing this the whole time. The culture of hip-hop that I grew up enjoying, now I realize was always invested in by the same people who were killing these people in Palestine. No wonder it was teaching me how to do things that deteriorated my body and my mind, and ultimately taught me how to be people that ultimately they would lock away. Because it hated me. And everybody looked like me. It hated you and everybody looked like you too. That's why it was teaching you how to hate yourself. That's why it was teaching you how to destroy yourself. That's why it was teaching you how to hurt your brother and hurt your sister. So you wouldn't turn your attention to them for that. You'd be too distracted. Trying to chase money, trying to chase violence, trying to chase drugs, alcohol. It was teaching you how to side with one side of your street against the other side of your street and fight to the death over a street that they own. They were influencing you with all of this, so that they can keep you under control and at odds with one another, so they can further vilify you as bad people, and then furthermore discredit you in the game of life. Because your value is determined by how much you are producing. And you're not going after education. And even if you are, you're still influenced by low frequency vibrations that ultimately put you in a position to be worse for yourself, worse for your family, and ultimately absent from your household to raise your family, so that this culture could raise your family in the same vein. The lower the frequency, the more frequent the pain for the people who follow the culture of that frequency. This It's why I'm not amused by the culture that raised me anymore, because I understand it wasn't from us. It was meant to not only point our destruction at ourselves, but also tell everyone else not to trust us as well. And then to furthermore reinforce that we were no good of a people so that we would not be any good as a people. That's why I don't subscribe to hip hop anymore. That's why I don't like rap anymore. Because I know it was always about the destruction of myself and my people. Invested in by people who hated us. Heavily invested in by people who hated us. They wanted us to chant things that ultimately reinforce in our mind poisonous seeds that are ultimately meant to make us die and make us kill others that look just like us, and never turn our attention to them when they decide to do things like genocide, for fear of losing everything except for our own lives, for which we risk every day trying to kill one another. Every time we open our mouths to use our talent to rhyme, 9 out of 10 of us have been taught how to say something negative. Even myself, when I look to freestyle, the first thing that ends up coming out of my heart is something having to do with something that ain't got no business being done in real life. Because that's how we are trained to understand that our rhythm is supposed to think negatively, destructively. When we think of rhymes that we've heard in other songs that we want to reuse, a lot of times they had to do with doing things that we would otherwise do that ultimately leave people abused, harmed, leave us in jail, lead us to temporary success that ultimately led to jail or led to death, or led to us being strung out on some type of drug, telling us how to want things that ultimately brought about the worst of consequences. This was invested in. And people took a lot of the money that they were stealing from other areas, investing it in these mind control cultures over generations of a time to teach black people how not to respect themselves, and more furthermore, how to look at one another as if they were the worst people in the world, and to hate one another, and furthermore want to kill one another. But never looking at them. And subsequently, people who weren't like us look at us and say this is what they are. Because they market a lot of these images not only to us, but to them. Always trying to mold someone else to be what they want them to be, to position them the way they need them positioned, so they're not putting a risk to them and their wealth, bringing a risk to them and their overall intention to destroy the Palestinian people and God knows what after that. This is what it was always leading up to. They needed the blacks who had suffered the most, who would otherwise see it coming first because of their experiences, to be so far up there behind in regards to these damn cultures that mean to make us hate one another, that we wouldn't be warning ourselves and others about what it is that they were doing. Because they knew that if anybody would see them coming in regards to how they want to treat other people, it was the people they already been treating that way for 400 years. We've seen all the tactics that they pointed at our people. All the stuff that they done to the Palestinians, we already knew it was coming if we would have been paying attention. They wanted us far away from paying attention. Because we could have told them, this coming, this is what they do, this is what they like to do, this is what they do. This is what's going to happen. This is how they treat you. Yep, that tactic, we've seen that tactic. They pointed it at us already. We know that tactic. That's why it's so important for black people to get involved in this Palestinian conflict as it pertains to at least knowing what's down that rabbit hole. Because if anybody know what the hell they about to do next, it's us. If anybody know how low they'll go, it's us. We too busy weaponizing ourselves against one another, generationally, not even considering the fact that is put in place on purpose to distract us and furthermore eat away at our numbers, eat away at our best warriors, individuals who wouldn't be afraid to get their hands dirty in the name of something, are killing each other. But I'd imagine conversations like this are meant to display our wokeness, so to speak, even though I've always hated that word so much. Our awakeness. And the fact that our generations are starting to become aware of not only what has been done to us, but what's happening out there to others. We're not so far up those cultures behind that we can't even see what is coming our way, because some of us do. And we aren't afraid to speak out. We aren't afraid to tell the truth. We ain't afraid to put ourselves at whatever risk necessary to protect someone else, because we were never wired like those who run the game. A lot of us were trained to, but it don't come naturally to us. A lot of us were brainwashed into it, feared, warped into it, tempted so much into it. But the truth of the matter was, it was never in our DNA to do that. Nor was in our DNA to stay that way forever, even if we were trained that way. Which is why the object of the game was to have us gone. Not necessarily living through all of that. They needed us to kill one another because they couldn't have us live too long, especially in our right mind. Y'all gotta understand that. We all gotta understand that. They want us gone before 35. Because if we live to see 75, we're gonna know a lot. Maybe too much. If we're focused, if we're sober. We're gonna be too influential, we're gonna be too strong. We're gonna find ways to live even longer than they are. They don't want that, so they need us killing each other early. They need us thinking we need to kill one another early. They want to wipe out. Look at how they handling the Palestinian people. They wiping out their children. They ain't wiping out their children just because they have a child bloodthirst. They know that's what the future holds. If you wipe out the kids, you get rid of the people. They doing the same thing to us, it's in a different way, different type of evil. Just because they control the walls, the laws do not mean they control the walls. That's why it's important that each and every individual who hears me get their relationship with God going strong. I don't care what your religion is. I think the religion aspect of it is only important to the individual who harbors it and the group that they study with. When it really comes down to it, just that you have a relationship with God is what's most important in the situation, not how. And I know that's going to make a lot of religious people unhappy, but you're in a structure. You're in a structure of divide and conquer. I tell you, my vision for religions is when you're not praying, I'm standing guard. When I'm praying, you standing guard. That's how that's supposed to be. Anything else in that is just divide and conquer. If we're not striving toward that, we ain't doing it right. And so I could care less what religion you are. You just get close to the living God. He'll find you if you look for him. All it takes the faith of a mustard seed, what I believe. And get aligned with his timing at your request. Because you're going to need to be. That's what I know. Based on how these people are operating above us, they're welcoming all types of horrors. Both spiritual and physical. The wrath of man and God, they are welcomed upon us in this country and in this Western world. Anywhere the colonial flag is placed is ultimately in the face of this genocide disgrace. And that is something that we all need to understand. You believe it and understand it. And the only hope that these people have is that there is no God. That's their only hope. Because if there is one, they're all in deep, deep trouble. That's what I know. Deep trouble. And so while in 2025, everything may still be structured just fine, everybody may still be moving like they're supposed to be moving. But what comes with what it is that they're doing deteriorates a lot of what it is that we know. You're welcoming its end. Some of us just living day to day, feel like there's no hope any damn way. That's exactly how they need you to feel. Scraping for something that ain't happening, running in place on a hamster wheel. That's exactly how they want you to feel. Like you can't get any higher, and that you're one check away from being expired. That's exactly what they want you to feel. That you must adhere to them in some wacky way to use a big voice or a big talent to welcome them into your life by way of whatever contract you're going to sign or whatever platform you're going to use to display your talent, so that they can push their agenda and get further wealthy and then send that money ultimately into spaces that are disgraceful. This is what they've proven. This is what they're doing. The devil is a liar. The devil is mistaken. Every single time. Whatever the heck he's trying to do has a self-destructive button attached to it. And just because you haven't seen the day come around where that button is pressed does not mean that it's not coming someday. And that day, we're going to understand the error in our ways. And that day, I'm going to sit back and say, I told you so. Because on this day, I'm telling you that's exactly what comes of it. You can't hurt children, bro. Not without consequence from a higher power. You may think you're getting away with that. You may think you may be justified based on your ideologies or whatever you've taught yourselves over the course of however long it's been. But at the end of the day, one of the prime rules on this earth is to leave his little ones alone. This is one of the prime rules. Leave his little ones alone. Y'all can do a lot of different sins that'll fall on your head, but do understand that if you hurt a child, it's a different type of wrath that you're welcoming into your existence, into your circumference. This is not up for debate. And just because we haven't seen what comes of that, I'm here to tell you that what comes of that is absolutely bad for those who do it. Absolutely bad. For what they're trying to build while doing it. And so what I'm telling you is this country was built on genocide, killing children. It was built on that. Many countries around this globe have been built on the backs of children. Slaving children, overworking children, killing children, assaulting children sexually. These are things that have already been done. And you say on May 2nd, 2025 that you haven't seen that wrath. So the mistake is to think that it isn't coming. That's the mistake humans continue to make over and over again. That because it hasn't happened, that it ain't gonna happen. Or because it hasn't happened in a long time, that it ain't gonna happen again. As we continue to make that mistake in this life, we continue to be on the path to what comes with that. I would like to think that I'm a part of the plan to change that mentality, at least within a few people, so that we have some belief that the words and the actions that we engage in have some consequence, even though we haven't seen it yet. It ain't came yet. How many people have yet to see what comes their way, and then they do, and then we know that hindsight is 20/20 in regards to their circumstances? I think of a guy like Puffy and how long he was getting away with whatever he was doing. And then the day came around where he came to ruin. There were probably many days within the course of his journey where he thought it wasn't coming his way. Many days where he thought he was untouchable. And it was funny to laugh at those who were telling him he was going to get what he had coming his way. You're going to laugh at those people because obviously they didn't know what they were talking about, because he couldn't get caught. He had never been caught. Why would he think he was going to get caught? This is the mistake so many men, so many women, so many people have made. Thinking that just because it hasn't happened, that it ain't, that they're safe from the consequences of their actions. That's a mistake I'm not going to make today. I'm not going to make that mistake today. I'm going to tell all of y'all, each and every one of us, that those who harm God's children have a hard wrath to follow their way. I don't care if you're doing it out of sickness or out of sanity, for money, for power, or whatever your intention is. If you don't have any idea of how you're supposed to behave or why, or maybe you were taught the wrong way, maybe you weren't raised right, I'm not sure. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. If you're harming kids, a bad day's coming. It's literally it. A bad day coming for a long time. Long time. My God is watching. He is aware. He is of clear mind. He is being worshipped by people that he considers his friends, who keep him uplifted in the presence of all this destruction. The devil is not succeeding in ruining God's days just because he's doing things and refusing God praise. There are plenty of us who are praising him. Plenty of us telling him to have a good day. Plenty of us telling him we love him. Plenty of us telling us we worship him. Plenty of us standing up against the evil that he's fighting against. Plenty of us that make the devil's interest in ruining God's day futile. That's what I got to say to the enemy. You failing. You ain't breaking God's heart. That's what I've come to understand. You're trying, but you're failing. While y'all killing off children, he's making more. While y'all silencing cowards, he's growing more people willing to speak. Who ain't afraid of that? While y'all shutting off your platforms and silencing students, more are being born, more are being educated, more are being enlightened, more are listening to the people who are talking. You're not doing a good job, enemy. And just because your day is yet to come, just because it looks like you control everything and everybody's underneath your thumb, just because you got a bunch of people willing to pull a button, push a button, or pull a gun, or whatever the hell in the name of your cause, does not mean that you won't fall, because you are destined to fall. Not just because of all the evil that you've done, but because of a specific evil that you're doing. You're hurting children. And the Lord has made it very clear to me, and very clear to many, in whatever religions, however it is, if he's a part of it, he didn't told all of us. Do not harm his kids. And you betray that, and you dance around in folly as if there's no consequence for that. And you do all different other things that he doesn't like and doesn't respect. And as a result, you're going to get your day coming, even though it hasn't folded on the calendar as of yet. It is what it is. And so I tell you, any of y'all who are afraid to speak out on that, any of y'all who are cowardice or afraid, genuinely afraid of speaking out because these people control just about every damn thing you see, you just remember that they don't control the walls of the world. You just remember they do not control the skies or how the earth shakes. You just remember that they cannot bring life nor take it fully, spiritually. That's not their domain. They don't control that. Their arrogance makes them believe they control that. But the reality is they can't cure themselves of certain things that affect their body. They can't stop random occurrences from bringing tragedy to their lives just like we can. They don't control everything. They control what they behold. And for them, I give them that. But they're going to lose it all being unwise. And for that, they have no self-respect. Some of us may be confused or afraid to speak out. But there are some of us who were born to do nothing but that. And we will be heard regardless of what comes of us because of it. Palestine will be free, just like the slaves would be free. Israel will face whatever consequences comes its way, and the land will stand long after the man that stands on it is gone. When his bones have gone to dust, there will still be people here praising the Lord, looking to protect the child. Remember that. Remember that when watching all these people do what they do. Long when they're no longer here, there's still going to be a need to ask help of the one who controls the walls, because he remains when all of them are gone. And that's who I come to serve after making mistakes that made him angry and made him curse my life, upholding cultures that didn't mean me no good, and ultimately finding myself on the wrong end of his interest. That's why I know to not play with him no more. And I'm here to tell you, man, the only thing that's going to age well in the era we're in is standing up against structures controlled by evil men. It's the only thing that's going to age well. Everything else, just a byproduct of continuing to allow those men to do the things that we ultimately know they shouldn't be doing against God, against innocence, and ultimately bringing about their own ruin. You ask me if I fear them. No, I fear what comes of me fearing them. You ask me if I'm adhere to them. No, I adhere to who it is they are at war with. You ask me if I have a heart for them. No, I have a heart for who it is that they're hurting. You ask me if I condemn those who come against them. No, I stand with them and I'm a part of the fight. And I know that I'm aligned with something that is right. Because what it is that I'm talking about is saving children. Of many kinds, not just one race, your race, they race. No, everybody's children deserve an opportunity to grow up, to be wise, to be given wisdom, to have wonder in their hearts, whatever it is that ultimately would be for their betterment and their environment being safe so that they can earn and learn and be educated. I'm not excluding some people because other people hate those people. I don't give a damn about any of that. And neither should you if you're serious about being a real person in this world. I ain't looking at their skin color. I'm not looking at their religious space. I'm not looking at their value in the world and what their people have contributed to our overall capitalistic game. None of that brings forth real value or otherwise compassion to their pain. That should be inherently in you as in a relationship with Christ. That should be inherently in you as someone who's felt pain before. I'm not interested in any of that. I'm not interested in being a part of anything that would otherwise uphold their pain or their suffering just because a couple people who control a lot want to tell me that they're going to destroy the world if I don't support them hurting others. They can't destroy what they didn't create. They don't even behold how to actually destroy it properly. They're just going to destroy their side of the fence trying to destroy the whole thing. That's all they're going to do. I'm not asking the Lord to bring forth destruction. I'm not happy to see Jerusalem burn. It's like I was hoping people weren't happy to see my city burn, even though it probably earned that. Good people lost good things when the Lord's wrath comes. It ain't something to want. But what I'm telling you is, if we know what was best for us, we would start preparing for those burnings anyway. We'll start preparing for that wrath anyway. We'll start getting our head together, getting our act together, getting our spirit together, getting our homes together, getting our house in order. Because there are people who are controlling a lot of what it is that we do, who are trying to keep us at bay in regards to what they do, welcoming the worst of things to us in regards to the Lord. Welcoming his wrath, welcoming his anger, welcoming his pain, and all these different things. Welcoming their own shame in that process. And we're supposed to be too desperate to care. I promise you, I ain't that desperate. Bdf 44, I thank you all for watching. I'm out.